Hi everyone, welcome back to our WAI Malaysia Summit at UTeM. This WAI Talk 2 will be delivered by Mazida Muhammad Noor from 30% Club. The title for this session is Women in Tech, Why the Gender Gap Still Persists. Before we start, let me introduce a little bit about our speaker. Marzida is an independent non-executive director on the boards of Affin Ben Berhad and Heriot-Watt University, Malaysia. She is the chairperson of the Affin Ben Group Board IT Committee and Group Board Nomination and Remuneration Committee member. Marzida has over 25 years of experience in leading IT business change and transformation, IT management and operation, program management, outsourcing and management consulting. I'm honored to invite Marzida Muhammad Noor to our talk. Marzida, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Akila. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. 30% Club is proud to be one of the partners supporting WAI Summit 2021. This is a fairly new partnership and we are extremely pleased and excited with this so far. This session is aimed at raising awareness on women in technology. I will also explain to you what is 30% Club all about. And I will also cover opportunities to progress beyond the office room to the boardroom. If you move to the next slide. Next slide. Next one, which is the topics. Topics. Okay, so I will be covering 4 areas. What is the current situation? Why these gaps still persist? And why diversity and inclusion is important. So I'm aware that I think earlier this morning, Professor Rose, I think covered quite, in depth around the importance of diversity and inclusion. So what I'll do is I will actually peel the onions even more so that we can go into a bit more details in terms of, what companies and even individuals such as yourself can do to actually address D&I and also what can be done. So before I start, what I like to do is actually explain a little bit. Allow me to introduce you to 30% Club. So that's the next slide. Yeah. Okay, 30% Club is founded in the United Kingdom in 2010. It is a business-led campaign. It promotes diversity, equity, and inclusion, but focusing on gender balance on corporate boards and C-suites. Since then, since 2010, many international chapters have been established. And I think topmost in everyone's mind would be why 30% Club? Why is it called 30% Club? Because I think for many of you, you probably know, I've heard of this. Scientifically, it is a tipping point or critical mass to catalyze real change, so 30%. So once you reach that 30% mark, anything beyond that, then you will start seeing a significant difference. Hence the club's name. So because it was founded in 2010, I think at that point in time, I think the name was appropriate and it was apt. Next slide. Our mission, at least 30% representation of women on all boards and C-suite. So this is frequently asked question, why are we stopping at 30%? The answer to that is, obviously, our aim is to move beyond 30% towards gender parity, which is 50-50. Yeah, so that's the reason why in our club mission is actually minimum of 30% representation. We are a business-led campaign. We're not an organization, nor are we an association or an NGO. So many people are mistaken thinking that we are a established entity, but actually we're not a registered entity. We are really a business-led campaign where we encourage and invite companies to join us as corporate members and help promote and drive the diversity journey in their own organizations. We are non-commercial. We achieve our aims, run our activities and events through voluntary support from members through contributions of time, venues, as well as sponsorship. Yeah, we take We hold no judgment. So any companies, especially public listed companies, are encouraged and welcome to join us so that we can learn from each other the best practices and the challenges around driving and maturing the diversity and inclusion journey. Next slide. So what I'll do, I'll cover briefly on the current situation globally. And I think Prof. Rose has actually covered some of these statistics, and I've gotten some of the statistics from some other sources, which I'll share with you. I think despite progress, you all know very well that gender gap is still wide at leadership level. On the corporate boards basis, if you look at the 2020 figure, only 20.6% of women are on corporate boards. And if the current average rate of increase per year were to look like what it is looking in 2019 and 2020, which is 0.6%, we will not be able to achieve 30% female director by 2036 or gender parity before 2069. So that's what COVID has done to us, which is set us back, many percentage points. At the Fortune Global 500 companies, there's only 23 women, or 4.6% of CEOs. So it's very dismal. Though it's actually has been a big jump actually compared to last year. Yeah, so 4.6 is considered good compared to last year. So can you imagine that? And then Mercer also did a study in 2020 where they found, again, I think this is what has been covered before. You probably have heard this before. It's about this leaky pipeline. Now, this is a problem. Yeah, this is a perennial problem. This has been around for as long as women has come into the workforce. Many research has actually measured this over the many years, and it is still persistent. So you will see a reduction in terms of women as they move up, the ladder. Next slide. So I will touch about the women in senior management at the global level. So this is taking from the Grant Thornton report in 2021. In the past decade, progress towards gender parity in senior management has moved slower than it should. But there are bright spots. If you notice here on the deck, the latest research has shown that there's an increase in senior female managers globally at 31%, up from 29% in 2020. So it has finally passed the 30% tipping point to catalyze real change. Next slide. So if you go deeper, one level down, we do a bit of a drill down in terms of, by region. Again, there have been exceptional and exponential gain in countries with women leaders exceeding this 30% tipping point. Especially in Malaysia, women holding senior positions has reached 37%, the highest ever recorded despite the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is certainly good news. And I think congratulations to the, companies as well as women, as well as men, who have actually supported us to this journey. So this is indeed a bright spot for Malaysia. And, getting Malaysian statistics is actually very difficult. So I echo Dr. Rose's, advice or recommendation that please, DOSM should actually start tracking statistics on women in technology. Next slide. Now, when we look at women in senior management, there is also a shift, traditionally from HR and finance to other roles as a result of opportunities being provided by companies, and women themselves are opting for other non-traditional roles. Next slide. Now, this is again the leaky pipeline syndrome. So this is a study by McKinsey. What I'm showing you is actually 3 years worth of study, but they actually have been monitoring this over the last, I think, 6 to 8 years. So the profile has not changed. When I show you the last 3 years, I think they look the same. So there's this leaky pipeline syndrome is actually prevalent. And this is US data. While entry-level men and women are hired at equal rate, but evidence exists that women are lost from the pipeline at a faster rate than men once they reach experience, mid-level or senior manager. So thus creating what popularly called as leaky pipeline. Often this is due to higher burden for women than men in combining work and family. Women may be also poached by other companies, and they may even leave if the work environment or their managers are not flexible and inclusive. In addition to that, I think COVID has increased gender disparities, and women are now disproportionately affected by COVID crisis. Particularly mothers with young children are leaving the workforce or stepping back from their careers. And this will have long-term impact to the progress made. Something needs to be done, interventions. Next slide. Now, how is Malaysia doing? So this is from the World Economic Forum Gender Gap Study. We are ranked at the bottom in the Gender Equality Index in the Southeast Asian countries. Yeah, pretty sad, and when we think that we're quite progressive, I think most of the corporate Malaysian, community, we regard ourselves as being quite progressive. However, when, they did this study across economic, educational, as well as political empowerment, we are actually ranked last in the ranking amongst the Southeast Asian countries. Pretty sad to know this. Next slide. And I think the global leaky pipeline, profile that I showed earlier, surprise, surprise, is also reflected here. Despite a higher number of females in universities, yeah, you notice here, well over 60%, yeah, entering the tertiary education. But there is a high dropout rate. If you look on the right-hand side, you can see there's a gap between male dropout rate, which is the black line, as well as the female dropout rate, which is the yellow line at the bottom. So the huge gap, right, is evident in Malaysian female workforce as well. And it is challenging to bridge this gap unless structured interventions are in place. So if we are hoping that by sheer organic growth, this gap is going to be closed, it's not going to happen. So what we need is actually structured interventions and intentional effort, to actually close this gap. This is a big problem all over the world. It's not just in Malaysia. Next slide. Now, what about women's participation in the government, top decision-making positions? Very bleak. Yeah, only 14.9% women in parliament. Yeah, and 16.1% in ministerial position. And I think as of current statistics, even lower, I think, because this was taken as a snapshot at a point in time. We've had so many changes, in the government lineup that I believe these numbers have actually gone down. Next slide. Now, we come now to the heart of, the mission of 30% Club, which is tracking the Malaysia's progress on women on boards on the Malaysian public listed companies. If you notice here, for the top 100 public listed companies, we are only at 25.5%. Yeah, so we've been tracking this since 2014. If you notice, there's a big uptick in 2018, 2019, and then we plateau over the last few years. Again, this is also reflective of the changes in the government and the lineup of women on the boards of some of the JLCs. For total, all of public listed companies, there are about 900 plus public listed companies, more or less, is even smaller. It's at 17%. So mind you, when I say 25.5% of top 100 companies, I mean average. So there are companies, in this case, if you look on the right-hand side, with 0 women on board. So there are still 4 companies out of the 100 public listed companies still have no women on board. And some of these public listed companies have less than 30%. So there are some companies who are more than 30%, so they're carrying the weight of this average. PLCs, so again, if you notice here, 261 companies with 0 women on boards. So we have a long way to go. It's slow but steady progress. And, Securities Commission recently has made it mandatory for all public listed companies to have 30% women on board. So therefore, we are expecting a significant uptick from 2022 onwards. So this is good news. Next slide. So this is what Securities Commissions have done. So they have actually issued, or they've had this for a while already, several years. They call it Malaysia Code on Corporate Governance. So recently what they did was they revised and they mandated that 30% women on board is mandatory for all public listed companies. Before, it was only for top 100 public listed companies, and now they've made it mandatory for all public listed companies. So this is a good time, for female directors, to step up. So it's a good time to be a female at this point in time. So we expect to see significant growth moving forward. So they have to disclose gender target and timeline. They're also monitoring senior management in public listed companies, and they will also ask these companies with concrete target and not just generic promise. So companies must commit to a specific timeline as to when they are going to reach 30% on their boards. So this is certainly good news for 30% Club, because we've been working hard, with Securities Commission, with Bursa, with the rest of our other partners, to actually encourage more companies, especially public listed companies, to have more women on boards. Next slide. So in terms of number of seats, for top 100 public listed companies, we need about 38 seats. So there's a gap of 38 seats. For the total public listed companies, there's a much bigger gap, which is at 828 seats. So when I say seats, it means that there could be women board directors who sit on more than one. But I think our aspiration is to make sure that we also monitor to make sure that we pave the way for new women on boards to step up. So you've seen cases where one director may sit on maybe 4 to 5 public listed companies. This is not a healthy trend. So I think as much as possible, we would like to make it equitable, and we would like to get newer board candidates to also sit on public listed companies. Next slide. So this is a bit of a snapshot in terms of the Malaysia Board Diversity Index. So what you're seeing here on the left-hand side would be the highest percentage of female directors on the board. So I think a number of companies share top spot, from DG to Berjaya, Hong Leong, even Petronas, TNB, Hong Leong, Masing, and Malaysia Airports Berhad. On the right-hand side are the large cap, more than 2 billion company. They have more than 10%, starting with Axiata Group, all the way to Malaysia Airports Holding. Next slide. So let's focus now on women in technology. So I've shown you the global trend, and I've shown you the what's happening in Malaysia, the local landscape. And let's focus on women in technology. And not surprisingly, this trend continue, especially in newer technology roles across the 5 clusters. And this was taken up from the LinkedIn profiles, where females make up only an estimated 26%, on average 25-26% in data and AI roles, and even less for other roles. So these new technology professions are poised to see greater priority in future if there are no other concrete or sustainable interventions. So you can see, I think this trend has been monitored over the last, 10, 15 years, and it's the same story. I have presented, women on boards, women in technology, in other events, and it's the same trend, which is on average, we're about 25% or less in terms of our participation in technology. So something's got to change. Yeah, so we can't continue like this. Otherwise, women will be left behind. Next. Now let's look at the top technology companies. They call it GAFAM, which is the Amazon, the Facebook, Apple, Google, and Microsoft. These are the breakdown of female employees of top 500 technology companies in the US. So while you can see the total workforce is quite healthy actually, especially in Amazon, leadership roles, not too bad. You can see Facebook at 34%, past the tipping point, even Apple for that matter. However, the technology jobs, if you notice, are hovering at about, on average, 25% or slightly less. You must have read, of news reports and protests about the bro culture, about lack of respect and toxic working environment in some of these technology companies or even startups. So this is something that I think many of these companies are, stepping up and, implementing concrete steps and actions to actually address this issue. And, this trend, and then some of these, what I mentioned earlier, is also reflective of the technology company as well as startups in Malaysia as well. Next. So on a global level, the World Economic Forum predicts that gender equality gap will not be closed for another 100 years. So that's pretty sad, really sad, and then this is made worse by the pandemic. Next slide. Now, this is interesting. I think we've talked about this. This has been heavily debated. What are the challenges facing women? Yeah, this is of no surprise to everyone. Gender stereotyping from childhood plays a key role, resulting in less number of women interested in STEM. Yeah, women themselves don't see technology, security, or AI as viable career path because they are often considered as masculine professions. And also they know, right, when you are in technology, yeah, the work hours are, horrendous. You probably be working, almost on a 24/7 basis. Yeah, so sometimes many women would shy away from entering the tech profession. And also, people, consciously or not, yeah, tend to hire and promote people who are like them. So if there are more women in the organization, especially at leadership level, they will end up, recruiting and selecting people like themselves. So there is then a tendency for men to hire more men. There's also the issue of pay inequity. Yeah, so I'm not sure, and I don't think we've done any pay gap research in Malaysia, but I am pretty sure if we were to do one, this may be not big of a problem in Malaysia, but it'll be interesting to see whether this is the case, because I know this problem is prevalent outside of Malaysia. So it'd be good one of these days that someone could actually conduct a pay gap analysis. And last but not least, businesses are also not doing enough to attract, recruit, train, and retain women technology professionals. So this is important. Yeah? If you expect, to go through the same hiring process, the same pipeline of recruitment, you will not be able to close the gap. Yeah, because of the multitude of reasons why women are less inclined to join this profession. Next. There are many benefits, yeah, because a diverse mix of voices leads to better discussions, better decisions, and better outcomes for everyone. Increased productivity, creativity, and innovation. I think this is something that's well known already. There's lots of research about it. Employee engagement improved, not to mention company reputation. Yeah, the company will also be able to attract a wider range of skills, as well as improve cultural insights. Diversity enhances creativity. It also helps company expand their reach because organizations with a diverse workforce have a competitive advantage. and tend to perform better. Because especially when they're addressing constantly evolving markets and consumer needs. So what you need is actually a workforce that is reflective of your consumer and the market and demographics out there. And it can help provide organizations with a broader view of the market and reflect the evolving consumer needs. So this is actually quite important. Yeah, this is actually one of the key critical benefits of having a diverse workforce. Not to mention that you'll be able to attract and retain talent. Yeah, because organizations that embrace this approach are seen as socially responsible and have a better reputation. Next slide. I will not dwell on this slide too much. We know diverse teams produce better results. So there have been lots of research, about how and in what manner that has been measured and quantified. Next slide. Now, closer to home. Artificial intelligence is only as good as the data that powers it, because it may inherit or even amplify the biases of its creators. So we know this very well. So that's the reason why I think there have been lots of topics on ethical AIs. Next slide. Now, this is the syndrome. We call it the invisible woman. So there's a book written about the invisible woman, how data bias in a world designed for men. In many product design and development, prototypes are often built using male body dimensions and requirements. I'm sure some of you have read this before. For example, after the launch of the 2018 iPhone, female customers criticized Apple for creating a phone that was too large for the average woman's hand, which is true, because I complained myself when I actually bought mine. I'm like, oh my God, this is slightly bigger than what I'm used to. Next slide. Now, this is interesting, yeah. Women make up 50% of the total population, or more or less. However, there's a big data gap that caused gender blind in the way we design the world. Army equipment, are designed for men. Popularly known crash test dummies, are designed, using men's proportions. Spacesuits, are designed for men. And if you look on the left lower side, the all familiar queue at public toilets. If you go to any public events, the toilet size is the same as male. Yeah, but because of that, it's not designed for women. There will be a long queue at women's toilets. So I think this is something that we need to correct and be aware of. Next. Really, it's time to walk the talk, because while we know these are the problems, companies must move from talking to action, because change starts from the top, and companies must create an authentically inclusive culture. Now, I'll explain in a little bit more detail in the next few slides, because it must be intentional, purposeful. Leaders must be willing to invest time and resources into deeply understanding their workforce culture, their workplace culture, and shifting it. So this kind of change requires letting go of assumptions, long-held practices, and sacred cows. So why doesn't the business case work? Because sometimes, when you talk about diversity and inclusion, you get people saying, okay, what's the business case around diversity and inclusion? It's a wrong question to ask, because business case is based on an economic logic. It undermines moral arguments and weakens resolve to make anything else other than incremental change. So having an inclusive culture in organization is actually a moral obligation, a moral imperative. It's no longer a side program, a nice to have program to be implemented in companies. Next slide. What can organizations do? Companies should and must build a corporate culture of diversity and inclusion. So if diversity is so important to companies, why so many companies struggle? Yeah, so now I'm going to go deeper into diversity and inclusion and what are the critical success factors to achieving diversity and inclusivity. Why do they struggle? Because achieving diversity is hard. Many companies, because it's about the culture, right? So culture change is hard. It's about people. It's about mindset. Yeah, it's about behaviors. So many companies focus only on recruiting diverse candidates, but they forget they must also promote a sense of inclusivity and belonging. So on one hand, while you can actually be proud of the fact that you recruit and maintain a diverse workforce, but the question that companies should ask is actually, how are you doing in promoting a sense of inclusivity and belonging? Because you can be diverse, but you can still be disengaged from the company, especially if there are discriminatory behaviors and practices in the company. So having a diverse workforce doesn't automatically translate into an inclusive culture. So an inclusive culture must be built intentionally. For example, so there are many aspects here that needs to be done. Companies must revise their hiring processes and policies. So must make it an inclusive recruitment process or inclusive hiring. The organization must define what diversity and inclusion mean to the company. Some examples: job description must use gender neutral language. So it must be inclusive. And you can use job description analysis tool to remove biased language from job ads. Make inclusion commitment as part of the employer branding. So in your job ads, you must communicate this commitment so that you can then capture a wider net of candidates who are maybe attracted to working in a company that respects all employees. You must establish a diverse interview panels and standardized job interview process. So this is not overnight. It's not something that you can just one day wake up and say we are a diverse and inclusive company, but you have to work on it. So there are many building blocks that needs to be revisited and revised. Because when you have a diverse interview panels, you reduce bias and help see candidates from different perspectives. Now, where I was before, in a multinational, we were trained on how to conduct interviews. The hiring managers are trained on how to conduct interviews. We are trained on unconscious bias. We are trained on how to ask questions. And we are trained to avoid, asking discriminatory questions during interviews. So this is what it takes, for company to actually achieve diversity and inclusion from a culture perspective. Set targets and measure the hiring program, because what gets measured gets done. Unconscious bias is another topic that must be mitigated because it's a significant barrier to creating an inclusive environment. Because when people become more aware of these unconscious assumptions through training, through discussions, they are better able to make more objective decisions and engage in more inclusive interactions. So for example, when I work in a multinational, they take great pains to actually train us on understanding other people's point of view, because we have a wide variety of multinationals, multicultural environment, truly global. So if you don't instill the behavior of tolerance, understanding, then it's going to be very, very difficult to achieve this culture of inclusiveness. So the company that I work with actually places heavy emphasis on diversity and inclusion. In fact, they've actually started this journey over the last 15 to 20 years already. So they're very, very one of the early adopters of diversity and inclusion. And studies have shown that hiring process tends to be biased because due to unconscious bias on sexism, racism, ageism, and bias impacts every aspect of recruitment, retaining, as well as engaging talent. So this is actually a big topic, and companies have special classes, training, or invite firms to talk about and give training on unconscious bias. For most experienced recruiters, they should be trained and aware of potential biases. There are also HR software tools that use AI and machine learning to make better D&I hiring decisions. So you can do that as well, so that your decision making is actually more objective. Next slide. So these are further examples on what companies can do to shift beyond rhetoric and implement structured interventions. Companies must commit, create awareness, and cultivate women talents. As they say, you know, what gets measured gets done. Yeah, so intentional, purposeful, must be tracked, must be discussed, communicated to all employees. So that is become the company's DNA. So what can organizations do? Yeah, so these are some of the, you know, more details around. Next slide, if you go to the next slide. Strategic recruitment of women technology professionals. So many companies, you know, are doing this. They actually create strategic, specific targets to recruit women technology professionals. They also eliminate gender bias in recruitment by changing the narrative, as I mentioned earlier. Gender balance shortlist of candidates. I know of companies, I know this because I've spoken to some of the CHROs. They say that we will not continue with finalize our shortlist of candidates unless we have a 50-50 male-female candidates. Yeah, so that's the kind of policy that some of these companies have actually instituted. Other things that they have done is also, of course, a diverse hiring panel. And the second point is also important, which is to establish a women technology talent pipeline. So intentionally build and maintain a strong pipeline of women technology professionals. So if you don't do this, if you don't provide this kind of support, you know, you will see this dramatic drop in middle management, yeah, because of the issues that were highlighted earlier, that I explained earlier as part of the leaky pipeline syndrome. Yeah, so you need to sponsor some of these women, you know, so that they can move along the pipeline. Family-friendly policies, you know, so that they can actually not drop out. You know, if they know that they're being supported, if they know that they can work from home, for example, if necessary, you know, so more women will stay, working. So in my previous organization, working from home is actually the norm. Yeah, so it has given us, given their employees much flexibility to address this. And their policies, actually, they have both male and female balance policies. Creating a culture of equality and inclusiveness is actually equally important, as I highlighted earlier. So real change only comes from taking every single person, women and men, on the journey. So be very clear, you know, so this is not just about a women issue. I think it's about both men and women working together to actually move the needle. So we need men to support women in this journey, because a lot of the senior leadership decision-making roles are actually held by men. So that's the reason why 30% Club actually welcome male allies to work with us to actually push this agenda further. Next slide, you know, so this is what, again, you know, an example of what organizations can do, you know, so these examples of what companies have done. So at Microsoft, you know, they've come up with a, accelerator program. MDEC, I think, I believe is March 2021 as part of the International Women's Day. They actually announced that they've created an all-women data science and AI department. Standard Chartered also have instituted a technology incubator in Zambia, and Standard Chartered also have other programs across other countries as well. So these are some of the examples of what companies can do, yeah? Strategic interventions. Next slide. Now, what can you do? Right? You don't have to be technical to be part of a technology team. Yeah. In AI, for example, you know, there are many non-technical roles that you can play. The domain experts, yeah, data scientists, data engineers, of course, technical, product developers, AI ethicists, as well as lawyers, with PDPA, GDPR in Europe. And this is a good time because of the significant talent shortage in technology across all areas, a good time for women to enter this space. It's not that hard. You can legitimize your skills by earning certifications. Participate in talent development initiatives. If there isn't one in your organization, find one outside of the organization. Join professional networking like WAI, Girls Who Code, for board candidates who are interested, to sit on boards. You can join or follow 30% Club. Join Institute of Corporate Directors Malaysia. Build your networks, build relationships, find mentors and role models. It's very important that you do this. And you could also consider joining companies that proactively promote D&I culture and have formal women talent development programs. So I was actually very, very fortunate because the last 10 years of my career was actually where I joined a global multinational. And so that's where I actually, was very much exposed to this concept of D&I, diversity and inclusiveness. Next slide. Okay, so this is something that I debated whether I want to share with you, but I thought, okay, never mind. I will share with you my own journey as a woman in technology. How did I get started? So because I've been asked questions like this. How were you, Marzida? How did you move up your career ladder? How did you get there? Or how did you get here? So what I decided to do is actually, drawn out a journey roadmap, and I will start from the beginning. When I joined the market, the workforce, I was very self-focused. I was gender blind. I knew no concept of fear. It was either my way or no way. So that was how I started my journey. So I was in conflict with my direct report, my boss. Didn't get along at all with my boss. To me, he couldn't, he didn't understand, what needs to be done. And I then progressed and joined GLC. And so that's interesting. It's a male-dominated workplace. They have gender bias policies. I mean, literally gender bias policies, for example, like if you are female, you cannot, you can only have up to 2 children. Otherwise, you have to work on the ground, right? And I was the only woman in senior leadership. Was I aware of that? Not really. I wasn't conscious of that. So to me, I earned my right to be there. And my attitude and my behavior when I was there was leave no prisoners. It didn't occur to me that moral obligation to bring other women along in their journey. So I was absolutely clueless, because the concept of D&I is actually very, very much absent in that company. This has changed, by the way. So this was like many, many years ago. I better put a caveat there. And then next, after that, after many, many years in that company, I was at a crossroad. I was not growing, I was not learning, and I feel very, very uninspired. And then I was thinking to myself, what should be my next move? So my thinking was at that point in time, like, I've been in a JLC. So why don't I now join a global company, a truly global company, and, maybe that will provide me with an opportunity to grow. So I made that move to this MNC. It was a targeted recruitment. So meaning they had a target to recruit women, senior women leaders in technology. So I was a product or outcome of that, where they actually actively seek out for women leaders in technology. So I was recruited. It was a truly global and multicultural workplace, diverse, inclusive culture and policies. A lot of emphasis on work-life balance because we work 24/7 around the clock. You know, we have staff working with us across many, many different countries. A lot of respect, tolerance, and care for self and others. So there are a lot of emphasis on that. And they also place a lot of emphasis on influencing, on personal connections and relationships. Yeah. And this is when I realized, you know, after working in this company, that is more than just about work. So I think joining this company has provided me an opportunity for me to grow. The growth was exponential. Yeah. So it opened my eyes, really. Really, it's actually an enlightening experience for me. Since I left the workforce, as was highlighted by Akila earlier, I now sit on boards. This is now about being self-aware. It's about leadership, it's about group dynamics, about influence, about alliances. And I've also decided to join and support the 30% Club mission. And I've now progressed to supporting others in the journey and giving back. And it's about inspiring others. So I think for those who are starting early now, you're still young. So you can, I think, hope you can take some lessons from here. So don't wait until at the end of your career before you can start having this aha moment. You should start doing that much, much earlier. Learn from my own experience and journey. Next. So there are 3 types of women in technology. Which one are you? In the first phase of my career, I was the last one, which is I didn't realize that I was the only woman in the room. And now I'm in the first category, which is vying to improve gender diversity in the workplace and on boards. Next, these are some of the books that you can read. Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, Facebook. Helena Morrissey, A Good Time to Be a Girl, is the founder of 30% Club. And Invisible Woman is also a good read. It's about data bias. Next slide. Really, sometimes women are their own worst enemy, don't you think? So we must break through our own mental glass ceiling. The self-doubt, the lack of confidence, leverage on strength in numbers, join networks and support groups, you know, so you'll be motivated and inspired to push harder and actually, you know, break out of your comfort zone. I think most importantly, if you notice here, you must be able to advocate for yourself and to yourself. So I think women are known to be very modest. You know, we need to tick all of the boxes to qualify on every single criteria before we put up our hand and say, yes, I'll take the job. What we should do is actually be bold enough to say, I'm ready. The rest I will learn as I, you know, take on the role. Next slide. Thank you for listening. Please follow us on LinkedIn. I will now take questions. Thank you, Akila. Over to you.
Thank you, Mazida, for the great sharing. Now we move to our Q&A. We have a question from Amira Hanis.
Okay.
She asks, do you think women in tech can become a good leader as well, as more technical person is not really good in the art of management? Can you answer that?
Okay, absolutely. I think anyone, whether you're technical or non-technical, can become a good leader because a good leader takes practice. So what you have to do is actually when you move along your career, if you do want to move to the management ladder or the management role, you need then to make sure that you are given enough opportunities to actually become leaders. Even as a technical leader, that's important because you need the management skills to lead a technical team. Yeah. So absolutely, you know, you can be technical or non-technical because being a good leader is something that you can practice. and you can actually learn.
Okay, thank you, Mazida. Next question is from Jaya Jasvin. She asks, what do you think should women be based on merit or affirmative action? Affirmative action means a set of policies within a organization seeking to include group based on their gender, race, sexuality, creed or nationality in area in which they are underrepresented.
Both actually, because for example, the explanation that I talk about hiring, right? Yeah, at the starting point, the policy of some companies are, I must have 50-50 gender balance. Now, when you go through the hiring process, the interviews, the filtering, then it's merit based. Okay, so for example, when I said that the company were looking for senior women leaders in technology, it does not mean that they will simply blindly just hire anyone. We still have to go through the same interview process, and if out of the 3 women that they have shortlisted, and none of them fit the bill, they will not hire these women. So to me, it's both, because if you don't do both, if you just say it's based on merit alone, because of all the issues and problems behind why women, why there's a gap between men and women gender wise, we're not going to be able to actually address that sustainably. And we have cases where some of these board members in some of these companies say, I don't know many women board candidates. Right, so what we have to do is actually create a networking environment where these women can be exposed and given the right support. Next question.
Okay, next question. We have question from Hazi Izzuddin. The question is, from your experience and knowledge in Asia region, what is the major challenges or gap of women in tech?
It's similar actually. It's about the hours, the hours that you have to spend. It's about the notion that women, is the carrier in the family. And I think Professor Rose talked about, choose your husbands carefully. I've got another piece of advice. You also should choose your mother-in-law carefully. Because sometimes there's a mother-in-law that will tell, their sons to say, oh, okay, your wife should really better stay at home, take care of the children. Yeah. So, it's the same. It's about, cultural upbringing. It's about it being, this industry is not easy. You have to have the tenacity. And some women themselves said, no, this is not for me. So that's why you get this leaky pipeline syndrome in technology. Next question.
Okay. Okay, next question. We have question from Tivoshat Edwards. She asks, do you think that the number of sexual harassment cases would decrease if women are actively becoming part of an organization?
Yes and no. You probably have come across a video of a town hall, where the women leaders are smiling when the male boss harass the staff. Yeah, so yes, and yes, if you have more women in the leadership role, they can then drive these changes. They will not or should not tolerate such behavior. But on the other hand, I think companies themselves should make it a policy and make it known and communicate and train their employees, on sexual harassment issues. And again, like I said, many companies are actually putting in place such a training so that people are becoming more aware what are the forms of sexual harassment. I think for many people, they may not be familiar with some of these behaviors, so something that may seem innocent can be misconstrued as sexual harassment. Next question.
Okay, next question. We have question from Amni Anwar. She asks, may I know some of the policies or campaign that has been done by 30% Club that managed to promote inclusivity in Malaysia?
All right. So 30% Club, as I said earlier, we actually invite and recruit corporate companies to join to become corporate members. So this way we can then work with them. We conduct for example, D&I masterclass. We organize webinars and seminars to talk about, D&I. We invite speakers, we invite companies that have been successful in implementing D&I to share their best practices. We also form, networks amongst the members where we can learn from each other. We can share playbook, on D&I as well as policies. And as I mentioned earlier, the Securities Commission themselves have issued a Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance where they have mandated public listed companies to have 30% on board. So we recently presented to the Women's Ministry. I think about a month ago, they actually had a session on same topic, which is how to actually empower women and get more women in the decision-making roles in the government. And we are pushing for some changes and hopefully policies to be implemented there as well.
Okay, we have a last question here from Zeratul Iza. She asks, do you think the phases in your career journey influenced by age as well?
No, it's actually in the choices of companies that I joined. So for example, if I had joined the multinational from the start, right, I would be very careful about choosing the next company. Yeah. So for example, I have many friends who left that global company and found it very, very hard to move to another company that give you that, same, level of maturity in terms of how they treat employees, how they respect the employees. So I think it is influenced by the type of companies that I join. So my advice to you, both men and women, if you have a choice to join world-class companies, whether it's local or foreign companies, take that opportunity, as early in your career so that you're exposed, as to, what is considered as best practice.
Thank you, Mazida. Okay, this is the very last question from Umi Hasana Zaidin. Okay, she asks, working in global company provides you with diversion and multicultural setting. What would be your advice to a local company in order to cultivate the culture of inclusive, diversion, and acceptance gender setting in a workforce?
Starts at the top. So anyone can do this. If you talk to any of these multinational companies, be it Shell, be it Standard Chartered, you start at the top. Walk the talk. So the tone starts at the top. It starts at the board level. It starts at the management level, at the CEO level, making that commitment, communicating that commitment, to the company, to the employees. Yeah. And then from there, start looking at your policies, start looking at your hiring process. Yeah. Start making sure that you undergo certain training. So if you really want to embed a culture of D&I, it must be intentional. So you cannot just say, wake up tomorrow and just come up, and declare, we are practicing D&I without all that building blocks. So it's not that hard. You can learn from other companies. Even if you Google, there are many playbooks that you can look at. Yeah. And that's why it's important that you hire a good progressive CHRO. So HR leaders who are progressive will know this subject very, very well. And they know it's not just about diversity. You must also create a sense of belonging. Otherwise, the minority, be it women or disabled people or other minorities, in terms of race, for example, will leave the company if they practice discriminatory behaviors and practices.
Okay, thank you, Mazida. Actually, we have still one more question. Can you answer that?
Sure.
Okay, we have a question from Bricha. Okay, she asks, what is the most efficient way of working in a male-dominated company? In example, think like a man, behaving gender neutral.
Okay, I love this question because this is a popularly asked question. My first advice, most important, is be yourself. Right? Be yourself, be authentic. So personally, I'm quite aggressive in the nature of how I perform my role. Though I have actually now toned down and I've actually learned, this is a result of working in a global company. So you've learned to be tolerant, you've learned to build relationships and not just focus on getting the work done. Because if you work in a local company, it's more about top down, right? You're being told what to do, don't question much. If you work in a global company, you can't do that. Everybody's smart. If you tell people what to do, they're going to say, who are you? Why should I follow you? So you must actually have a lot of more sophisticated skill sets, to work in a global company. So be yourself, be authentic. You don't have to think like a man. My advice is for women to actually, because you normally have this mental block. You lack confidence, you're hesitant, I think it's about, not overthinking it. So for example, if you are given an opportunity to take up a role, for example, don't think too much. Say yes first and then figure it out later. So I think understand what are the winning traits, that you need to work on, in order for you to progress. So you need to actually have a lot of, self-confidence and in yourself. Do I have doubts? Of course. But you have to be resourceful in making sure that whatever that you don't know, you work with people to get the work done. So it's normal for you to be not confident at times on certain things that you do. But it's about how you go about actually delivering your outcome. That's very, very important. So as I said, it's be yourself, be authentic, because if you try to think like a man, you might be overdoing it, and it might not turn out to be a positive experience for you.
Yes. Thank you, Mazida, for answering all the questions, and thank you for giving a very great sharing. Let's end our session here, and let's take a break, and we will continue at 3:45 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I am Faruza Amira.
Hi, I'm Gita.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sharifah Sakinah Si Ahmad.
Hi, I'm Khalida Jassi.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am Nur Intan Raihana Ruhayim.
Hello everyone, I am Nur Zarin Zulkarnain.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Hamira Hania Abdurrahman.
Hi, my name is Farizana binti Hamzah.
Hi, my name is Nurul Akila.
I am currently a data scientist at ST Microelectronics and Chief Operating Officer at Ever AI Technologies.
I'm also the founder of startup Jenga.
Currently, I'm Associate Professor in the Department of Intelligent Computing and Analytics, UTeM.
I'm also a statistician at WAI.
I am currently a Senior Lecturer at the School of Computer Sciences, University Science Malaysia.
Currently, I am a Senior Lecturer at the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology, University Technical Malaysia Melaka.
I'm also a Senior Lecturer at the Faculty of Industrial Management, University Malaysia Pahang.
And currently a second year student of Bachelor Degree of Computer Science in Artificial Intelligence at University Technical Malaysia Melaka.
Currently a final year student of Bachelor Degree of Computer Science in Artificial Intelligence at University Technical Malaysia Melaka.
Women in AI is awesome,
Engaging,
Remarkable.
passionate and dedicated.
And a great platform for building friendships.
so let's join Women in AI Malaysia Summit.
Summit.
Thank you so much, everybody, being here, made it without missing your flights. It was in two cases very close, but yeah, I'm really proud of you. It was so hard to getting everybody from all around the world.
Women in AI is a platform where women come together to share, learn about artificial intelligence. It's also a great way for women to support each other and to make sure that everyone feels like they belong somewhere.
Women in AI is a really impactful network for me of women who come from different backgrounds, from different academic backgrounds, working with AI and wanting to contribute to a more diverse and equal future.
WAI Summit was an opportunity for me to meet our ambassadors from all over the world, to discuss also and brainstorm about the path that Women in AI should take with the leaders of Women in AI in different countries.
Women in AI is a super interdisciplinary, diverse network of women and men who want to change the current setup where we have a huge gap among women professionals in the field of AI.
I'd encourage people to join because it's an opportunity to meet a lot of people at once and learn a lot from a lot of people.
You can know like a very good people, like it's not really a tech people in the WAI, but also we have some business marketing people that are using AI for like others for business, something like that. So amazing people. If you want to work with them, that's why.
For me, Women in AI is the way to share knowledge, the love I have for AI, and grow the community, empower female, and help them to get to know this world and how accessible it is for people with different background, with different opportunity to close the gender gap.
They'll be the face of Women in AI in their local communities, and they'll help spread the word about our initiatives and empower other women across the world.
WAI Summit, we discussed so many ideas, but also the points that we need to address in order to bring more efficiency and more power to our organization. It was a beautiful time to connect with peers, Amsterdam team, because some members are from Amsterdam, but also the ambassadors from other countries, learn from their successes, learn from their examples, benefit me personally as ambassador with some inspirational ideas for my country. You know what, just rock and roll, because we are awesome.
So this is the first time we're organizing a Women in AI Summit. We have brought all the ambassadors that we have in 17 countries together to share, connect, learn, and inspire each other.
Empowerment.
A way to go. Inspiring.
Empowering.
Multi-potential.
Unique.
Future.
So what are you waiting for?
AI is a super exciting field. If you want to be part of this change, join us.
The Women in AI Summit is on September 8th. I'm the founder of an AI and culture tech startup, and I'll be there.
I'm an AI scientist and educator. I'll be there.
Women in AI South Africa and the rest of Africa. I want to see you at our global Women in AI Summit happening on the 8th of September.
Ich bin Menschenrechtsaktivistin und ich werde dabei sein.
I'm a human-centric AI designer and I'll be there.
Women in AI 线上全球大会就在9月8号，我会参加。
I'm an entrepreneur in residence at Next AI Montreal and I'll be there.
Dołącz do tysięcy profesjonalistek AI z całego świata. Tym razem będą tam również Polki.
Soy entusiasta en inteligencia artificial y ahí estaré.
Moi, je suis entrepreneur dans la tech et je serai là.
Ich freue mich, euch mitzuteilen, dass am 8. September der Global WAI Summit, der Global Women in AI Summit stattfindet, virtuell auf allen möglichen Kontinenten, und ich bin natürlich dabei und ich freue mich, wenn ihr euch anmeldet.
I'm a software engineer and I am going to be there.
I'm as a machinery engineer will be there.
Ich bin Sheila, ich bin Software Engineer und ich möchte dort sein.
I'm a data scientist and I'll be there.
I am a technical consultant and I will be there.
私は日本のアンバサダー、ハッピーコムの戸田です。
I'm a passionate AI advocate, physician, and educator. I will be there.
I'm an AI startup CEO and I'll be there.
Women in AI máa wáyé nínú oṣù kẹsàn-án ọjọ́ kẹjọ nínú ọdún tá a wà yìí. Èmi jẹ́ olùkọ́ àgbà nínú ẹ̀rọ ìmọ̀ kọ̀ǹpútà ní Ọlábísí Ọ̀nàbànjọ University Àgọ́ Ìwòye Nàìjíríà. Èmi náà máa wà ń bẹ̀. Ẹ wá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa.
Women in AI Global Summit järjestetään syyskuun 8. päivä digitaalisesti, tuoden yhteen tekoälyasiantuntijoita ympäri maailmaa.
depan adalah hari yang penting buatku. Tapi, alah aku lambat.
Masuk cepat.
Aku akan buktikan pada semua orang program aku yang terhebat.
Giliran awak, Hakim. Hakim, jumpa saya di office. Saya nak awak siapkan projek awak. Now. Habiskan. Dana Hakim, teruskan usaha.
Kadang-kadang kita tidak sedar ramai yang memimpin kita sehingga berjaya. Bakat dan potensi dalam diri kita sebenarnya lebih jelas di mata orang lain. Assalamualaikum puan.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our WAI Malaysia Summit at UTeM. This is the last session for today, which is WAI Talk 3. This WAI Talk 3 will be delivered by Dr. Fairoza Amira Hamzah from WAI Technologies, and the title for this session is Leveraging the Use of Data and AI to Enhance Hybrid Learning Experience in Malaysia. Before we start, let me introduce a little bit about our speaker. Dr. Fairoza is currently a data scientist in STM Microelectronic Malaysia and co-founder of AI Technologies. She is the winner of Women in ICT Awards in 2021 under the Rising Star category, and she is the only Malaysian that won this award for this year. Previously, she worked as machine learning engineer at Veton Sdn Bhd, Malaysia, and assistant professor at the Kyoto College of Graduate Studies for Informatics, Japan. Without further ado, let's invite Dr. Fairoza to give her talk.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I think for those who are listening to my opening speech just now as the president of Women in AI, so here I'm back again. But I come back as my own company chief operating officer, which is AI Holdings Sdn Bhd. So I would like to start my talk. Currently, can the technical team put up the slides? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so today my talk is about leveraging the use of data and AI to enhance hybrid learning experience in Malaysia. I think this is because due to we have a lot of PTPR session, online learning because of COVID, right? So this is our company. I will introduce you a little bit what is our company doing and how we leverage the data and AI actually to enhance the hybrid learning experience in Malaysia. I'm using the word hybrid learning, not the online learning, because actually eventually we are going to the hybrid. We are not going to have the full on-site learning. We are not going to have the full online learning because there's some pros and cons after our research being done. So means like we are going to move forward on the hybrid learning. Okay. So thank you very much, TMC, for introducing myself. So let me introduce myself a little bit. I received a bachelor degree and master from Nagaoka University of Technology, Japan, in the field of electrical, electronics, and information engineering. I also did my research internship in Warwick University, UK, and also received my PhD from the same university, which is Nagaoka University of Technology, Japan, in the field of information science and control engineering. And after that, I directly straightforward becoming an assistant professor in the Kyoto College of Graduate Studies for Informatics, Japan. And I opened up this Women in AI in Japan at the same year. And after that, COVID happened. And I decided to return back to Malaysia. I became a lead research group for Corona Tracker, where our COVID paper has been cited more than 200 times already. And we are among the pioneers that, greening the data at that time. And also, I opened up the Malaysia chapter at the end of March 2020, and I became a machine learning engineer at Ventons. And after that, November 2020, we founded our own company, which is Ever AI Technologies, or we registered this as Ever AI Holdings Sdn Bhd. So if you see me before this, like I was featured in various media because of the COVID data analysis and also the research that we have done. So I was in TV3, Berita Harian, and whatsoever. And as mentioned by Prof. Rose this morning and also by our MC, I am the only Malaysian that actually received the Women in ICT Awards for Asian level for this year. Not for the whole year, for this year only, and under the Rising Star category. And then I give a lot of talks and do a lot of research and conferences as well. So this is one of the conferences for me. It's like I have the aspiration that we need to move forward towards the education and we need to move forward towards the data and AI. Okay, so this is a little bit about myself. So let me introduce my company a little bit. So my company called Ever AI Holdings Sdn Bhd. Our slogan is AI Tech for Everyone. It's like, quite the same with our summit, tagline, which is AI for everyone, but we focus on the technology side. Means like we develop, we teach you, both of them together. Okay. So this is one of our products and services actually. So we have Ever PDPR, Decentralized Digital ID, Ever Consultancy, and School Ever AI. So from what you can see, actually, we focus more on the education part, data, AI, and blockchain. Okay. So this is Ever PDPR. So if you are a teacher, if you have a friend as a teacher, or you're maybe a tuition teacher, you may be a private tutor, or maybe you open up your own training workshop, you can use our apps actually, because we have all the features that the teachers, that the hybrid learning, that the online learning platform can be done. So our tagline for this product is the develop for more reliable and affordable online teaching and learning platform. You can browse it, you can use it directly in the desktop by using www.everpdpr.com. You can also download from App Store and Play Store. You just search Ever PDPR and you're going to find out our apps there. Okay, so another thing that we did is the School Ever AI, which we did monthly workshops. Some of the available courses that we did before and we are going to do it in the future is Python for Everyone, building image classification mobile apps, machine learning with Python, classifying images with deep learning, and then like in the next 2 weeks we are going to do the web apps for object detection, which is we are going to teach you about object detection and how to build the web apps based on that model that you already built. So if you see the prof, I think Dr. Leong just now, she explained a lot more on computer vision, how they do the defect classification in object and everything. So if you want to learn more hands-on about it, don't forget to register for our workshop. So our tagline for School Ever AI is educating society to become intelligent on AI. The workshop is affordable. We split the pricing for the student and non-student. And then this is our second product on education, because we provide a platform and then we provide the education as well. So we can have more people like everyone here that give talk to you today. Okay. So the next item that we have, the next product is decentralized digital ID, where actually we use the technology of blockchain and also the facial recognition and optical character recognition to have your own decentralized digital ID. Means like you can just verify yourself by using blockchain, OCR, and face recognition. So we also did a lot of consultant work like AI and blockchain, research product to a software, web apps for machine learning products, data analytics, computer vision, and big data solution. So feel free to reach out to us if you have like anything, if you have like if you want us to build a product for you, or you want to you already have a product and you want it to get a go for that product. Okay. So what makes us different? Of course, because we have talented core members, AI-based automation, and blockchain-based cybersecurity. So our pillars are education, AI, ABCDE actually, AI, blockchain, cybersecurity, data, and education. So we focus more on education, data, and also AI. Okay. So that's the introduction of me and my company. So we are going to go to the summit, the talk, which is leveraging the data and AI to enhance hybrid learning experience in Malaysia. And I would like to thank the AI Technologies team that making this research, the study, and the products happen. Okay. So the objective of the study is we would like to explore opinions regarding online and distant learning across Malaysia. And we also would like to understand the challenges of online learning, as well as to help provide a solution to assist teacher and student to stay engaged in online learning. Yeah, because we see a lot of comments like in Facebook. Like yesterday, I think Dr. Razi Jidin, right, our Ministry of Education announced that we are going to open the school face by face after 3rd of October. And then there's so many, voices, opinions out there in the Facebook comments, in the YouTube comments, in the Twitter. So actually we are collecting all of this data so that we are going to understand the teachers, the student, and parents. Because after all, the study should be done, all the study and learning, it shouldn't be done by only one person. Means like if the teacher always like, teaching, and teaching, like this kind of short sendiri teaching in front of the Google Meet, and the student just like keep silent, something like that. There's something wrong lah in there. Means like the learning experience should come from the teacher, students, and the parents to help together, especially for the primary school student. So this is what we want to study actually. That's why when we study this survey, we didn't focus on teachers only. We focus on the three parts: teachers, students, and also parents. So the time frame. So both survey means like the Twitter analysis and the analysis on the survey and also the tweets are conducted in June 2021. And movement control order was declared at that time. 25 days of PDPR was announced on early June and extended until now. And they are going to open the school face by face in the future. So you know what happened right after this. So it's like, so that's why, like during this COVID situation, during this pandemic, even though we are going to exit the pandemic as endemic, we are not going to have the full on-site learning, the full face-to-face learning. We are no longer living in a world where you are free to go anywhere you like, where you are free to see your students, see your children like that. It's a world that you need to adapt to any digital solution. So that's why I think I see a lot of progress among our teachers, especially the elderly teachers. Before this, they don't even know, what is Google Meet, what is YouTube. Now they become a very pro YouTuber already. So I salute to all the teachers that actually try to learn on how to use this platform very well. So we did a data collection. We do a online survey. Like when you do all AI project, you need to start with data collection. Without data, there's no AI. Without data, there's no AI. You need data first so that you can train, something like that. You can learn from there. So that's why we need the online survey Google form and also the web scraping from Twitter. Why do we do both of these actually? Because when you just do online survey, your respondent limited to 100 people, or the only thing that you can reach lah. If you can reach more than 1,000, that will be much better. But usually it's very difficult to get more than that for a question survey. So that's why we do the web scraping in Twitter as well, so that we can compare actually what is actually happening for both of these, the keywords of PDPR. So we have a respondents in our survey, teachers, from the timestamp of 1st January to 30 June 2021, with a number of respondents 107. And also we scrap our Twitters with the keywords PDPR, with the scrap tweets of 15,900. After that, we clean up the tweets, like after you have all these kind of tweets and you have all Bahasa Roja inside there, and then you need to clean up all these kind of Bahasa Roja, and then you get 6177 actually, the clean tweets that we can actually use in our study. So in this Twitter, we didn't limit to the student, teacher, parent, and guardian. And in fact, it's quite difficult actually to distinguish which one is student, which one is teacher, and which one is parent. So this is going to be our future research lah. Means like we need to be able to distinguish all of this. So we get 6,177 Twitters. So our method for the survey, we send out our questionnaire. So it's a structured questionnaire, open-ended subjective question, and guided objective questions. So we focus on understanding challenges online teaching, teaching and learning aspect, teaching material, environmental aspect, and technology aspect. This is 3 things that we look inside this, and we discuss about the use of technology for online teaching and learning. Meaning it's like, because sometimes you want to join the online teaching and learning, but then your environment doesn't permit you, something like that. So that's why we have like these 3 focuses when we did our research. Okay, so in the twist analysis, as usual, you have the word scraping. You need to extract the time frame by the words of PDPR. And after that, you do the natural language processing to pre-process the tweets actually by using translation, because some of them, Bahasa Rojak lah, you have English and Malay and one twist, right? So you need to understand which one is Malay, which one is English, and you need to translate the Malay words to English, because most of the libraries of the NLP, of the sentiment analysis, are in English. And then you need to do tokenization. Means like you need to make sure that only the correct words is actually there. And then you need to remove the punctuation, remove the stop words, so that you have the root words there. You're not going to use like, like the word ing, means like Googling. It should be Google only, something like that. And then after that, after you finish up the NLP pre-processing, and then we do the web scraping to get the subjectivity and polarity. And after that, we build the word cloud, which is to figure out which one is the best, the most standout words in this survey. And after that, we give out the output as the positive, neutral, and negative sentiment, and also word cloud. So for those who doesn't understand what is sentiment, actually, sentiment analysis means like you have one sentence and then you want to decide whether it's a positive, neutral, and negative. And you extract the words actually to match with your survey. So this is the methodology that we use. So the tech stack that we use here is a very simple one. We just use Python and we train in the Jupyter Notebook only. And then we use the libraries like Twin for tweet scraping, TextBlock as a translation, NLTK for the NLP processing, and also the word cloud for word cloud feature generation, like this kind of word cloud. And then we visualize the data. Actually, we open up the web apps. The web apps inside the Heroku is actually inside our everpdpr.com. So if you register to become a user in everpdpr.com, there's a lot of external links inside it. Some of them is the one that we actually deploy into Heroku, which is we use the Streamlit for the visualization. So after this, I'm going to show you a lot of graph, because after you already, understand who is your persona, who is your user, you already make survey and something like that. You need to be able to visualize the data so that stakeholders, not the person like me, person like those who are just entrepreneur, a product manager, they are able to understand what is the results, what is the finding from whatever you already did. So this is the one of the function of a data scientist actually. You need to be able to interpret your data in a very easiest way and communicate with the stakeholders. So we use the Streamlit actually. It's an open source app framework. Test data script into shareable web apps compatible with Python, and you can deploy instantly, real-time reruns that update visual and content seamlessly. And then we use the cloud platform Heroku because it's free of charge and compatible with several programming languages. And it's run in a Heroku with a unique domain. So that's why we choose this because it's free of charge. Okay. So actually our results here means like our methods here is not only going to be applicable for, PDPR survey only. If you are a product manager, I think like that's why there's a lot of data scientists that actually moving to the product manager on product research, on business intelligence, because actually it's very difficult actually to get a lot of answer for the surveys, but why not you just scrap something from the Twitter from what people already said, and then you do NLP processing and you can get the results. So this is kind of, business intelligence sites on the data science part. Okay. So this is our survey result analysis, which is only 107 teachers. So we asked them the difficulty of online learning. Wow, it was like 80% said no. Means like 80%, 82% of the teachers, they said like it's very difficult to do online learning. I can understand you guys. I can understand the teachers here because I'm also opening, we also do the workshop online in the school ever AI, and also previously I was a lecturer. So when I was a lecturer, I did a hybrid learning. One is face to face and one also in online. So basically, I get used to doing the online learning as well. Even though I become, very frustrated, like you open up the PC, you teach to them, and then like you never understand, you never know whether your student is actually keeping up with you or not. So that's why when I see this result, I know it's a frustration to all teachers. It's a frustration. Okay, but we need to get used to it. Eventually, we need to live with the digital part. So that's why we open up this Women in AI Summit actually. Okay, so the next, which is the main challenges in online teaching. So we divided into 3 categories, which is device, application, and human. So we can see like most of them, they have a problem on student participation. The second one will be internet connectivity. And then the third one will be online classroom management. The fourth one will be homework marking platform. And then followed by technology accessibility and parent guidance. So you can see like actually this student participation, although it's category under human and internet connectivity, is actually related to each other. You don't have internet at home, you don't have enough data, you don't have enough devices to do your online learning. Means like you cannot participate into the class. But I think like nowadays there's a lot of donations going on for to get all of these devices and internet to be accessible by all the students. But still, if you have a family of 5 and 5 children is still in school and all of them need to use a smartphone, need to use a PC to submit their homeworks, to join the Google Meet session. So it's still like, it still doesn't solve anywhere. So this is one of the main challenges that we see. It's a very big challenges that we as the education technology solution provider, and also I think like those who are very higher ups in the policy maker need to overcome this part. Okay. So the next part is overcoming the problems in online teaching and learning. So we have all of these problems. So how we want to overcome this problem in online teaching and learning actually. So we divided into 3 parts as well, which is device, materials, and human. So the highest one is like utilize online application. So the teachers already trying to learn how to use this online application. They use a lot Kahoot, Quizzes, Padlets, a Jamboard, a Google Meet. There's so many things. I will show to you guys after this. We also have a survey on this. And improve the internet and device accessibility. This is the most important part as well. And the next part is preparing the modules. Teachers already get used to go into the class, teach by using the whiteboard. Means you just write like that, right? But then when it comes to online learning, you cannot utilize the use of whiteboard so much because some of the teachers, they don't even have a pen, like a whiteboard function inside of their PC. So how they want to teach, they need to build a PowerPoint. So they started to learn Canva. They started to learn how to make a slides. It's a very good move by the teachers, a very good initiative. So this is a very tedious part to do as well. And then another thing is like they need to encourage students and parents. I am also actually a digital making program, digital counselor platform mentor. And we had a discussion with a lot of counselors around Malaysia. This is the most challenging part for them because when the students actually at home, they tend to not attending the class. Some of them because of the device issue. Some of them because they are just too lazy. Not too lazy, means like they have another thing to do at home that they eventually cannot come and join to the class. So this is some sort of problem that the teachers need to solve in the future. So the next part is communicating with student and parent, pre-recording video lessons, early preparation, and quick course on online teaching. This some of the overcoming, how they overcome the problems in online teaching and learning. So the best platform as of the survey state, which is on the June 2021, now we're already on September, most of them, they use Google products like Google Meets and Google Classroom. And surprisingly, most of the teachers still use WhatsApp. WhatsApp and Telegram. The next one is the Lima. So the Lima is the one that is built by our Ministry of Education actually. So surprisingly, students and teachers in Malaysia still use a very simple social media, like phone messaging platform, instant messaging platform. It's very difficult actually to trace all the communications. Like, like when one teacher submit a homework and then suddenly, yes, teacher, we are going to submit. Okay, yes, teacher, how we want to do it? And then your homework gone. We don't know where is it, something like that, because like when in Malaysia people really like to use WhatsApp heavily. And when I come back to Malaysia, I'm quite, like really not really getting used on using the WhatsApp actually. Because in Japan, we use Line, and Line is much more structured instant messaging platform where you can have like a lot of groups pinned on the top, and then like you can share file, you have the notes function, you have the timeline function like Facebook. So meaning like it's much more structured way to engage with the people. But then like in WhatsApp, it's just a mere like social messaging, instant messaging platform, and people are still using this because why? Because WhatsApp is I think like the lightest one. That is another part. And the second part is because it's very difficult to learn a new thing. But we are going to end the pandemic as endemic, but still we are not going to have it like full face to face in the future. We need to live with this COVID. Okay. So the weakness of existing platform, of course, have a very high data usage, especially when you do the Google Meet, Google Meet discussion. Of course, you are going to use a lot of videos, and some of the people they don't have the unlimited internet. So that's why some of them are reluctant to enter this kind of classes because they have low data. And then lack of interaction. Of course, this is a very difficult part lah, that we need to cater. We can't even cater to you. We can help you and how you can interact, but it's always become very difficult to have an interaction online. So teachers need to be very creative on doing this. And then gadget shortage and system faulty. So this is a very difficult part as well. And then student students progress tracking. This is what we are lack of, and then we actually have a solution actually on the student progress tracking, so you can trace the student where they are currently. And then the another weakness is time limitation, marking homework, hard for student accessibility, limitation for several users, and also limitation for one account, hard to handwriting formula, something like that. No attendance taking platform. I've seen this is very interesting part actually. I've seen some teachers they take the attendance through the Twitter, something like that, and also through the Google Form. And some is just like they just ask in the WhatsApp or Telegram, who come to my class today? Okay, write your name one by one, and then you then copy and paste lah, something like that. Very interesting, right? Some is like boring UX UI design and limitation only to the host. Okay, so would you like another solution for this? And majority of them say yes. Okay, so let's see the Twitter analysis results. So we already have done a survey. Survey is more like what we want to ask the audience. It means like we already have this set of questions. This is the answers that we expect is going to be. But Twitter, we don't expect any answer from that. It's a very nice platform if you want to do a product research actually. Because if you didn't do this kind, like if you didn't do, alignment between Twitter and survey, you are doing like a short sendiri survey, I would say. Means like you do a survey that the answer that you already want, you want that answer already. So how come like you can prove to everyone, the stakeholders, that this is actually the way that we need to go. So that's why actually when you do both of these, you can convince them this is actually the way that we need to go. Okay. So we have a word cloud from the Twitter by using FOPDPR. See most of the people using Google and downloading. I think this is downloading the materials, time, classroom, Telegram, Teams, and also WhatsApp. It's very interesting one, and we also have Kahoot, video, word wall, and then like PKBB, some sort of like words lah. But most of them they use Google. Okay, so some of the challenges that we scrapped from the Twitter is we divided the same thing like what we divided before, according to the device and human. So in device, of course, internet connection and gadget shortage. So this part, we cannot help you so much. This is the policy makers and those who are able to donate lah. But then we actually, we actually trying to make sure that you guys can have a very good learning experience. So later I will show you what is our solution for this internet connection and gadget shortage problem. So the next one besides of these two is hard to concentrate and understand, and student participation. Student participation, it can become from the student behavior itself, the lack of device, the lack of internet, or because of the this kind of class is so boring, something like that lah. So means like we don't have really broad definition, narrow definition on what is student participation. Hard to concentrate and understand. I think everyone is like that. Even if you are listening to my talk currently, how many percentage actually you understand what I'm trying to say? And the next thing is like, even if we have a face-to-face class also, some students are still, like in somewhere on the cloud, or maybe some students are sleeping in the class. So it's like, we don't have like really a good solution lah for hard to concentrate and understand. Lack of motivation, environmental distraction, lack of encouragement from the guardian. So the methods used by the teachers actually online and offline, we divided into online and offline. So in the online, they use mostly Google products. The next one will be Microsoft Teams. And this is the others fall. And then I think the third one will fall to YouTube, WhatsApp. So we still have the instant messaging platform as the heavy platform that the teachers using. So for the offline one, I think this one is usually being done by the school in the in the rural area, not in the urban area, in the rural area where they don't have any internet connection that can be reached. So what they did is they prepare a module and they send to the students before the PDPR started, and then after 1 week they go and collect the module. I really respect this kind of teachers seriously, because it's very difficult for you guys to go to that area one by one, visit every houses just to give out the modules to them. Is I salute to all the teachers that are able to do this. You are awesome, seriously. And then the next one is the video recording part. So this is what I usually did back in Malaysia when actually my house just received the fiber internet, the unlimited internet, November last year, November or December last year, 2020. Yeah, very interesting. Like when I come to Japan, like 2012, they already have the 100 megabyte per second fiber internet, even in rural area, because I live in a rural area. Actually, it's very, even the phone line at that time, like all over the place already have 4G, we still have 3G, but we already have the fiber, even in rural area. But in Malaysia, you get your fiber internet in the rural area in the year of 2020. Very interesting. So before this, when I come back to Malaysia, I always, doing the online learning actually to improve myself. So what I did is like I have 1 month of holiday at that time, 1 month or 3 weeks of holidays, and I still want to continue my online learning. What I did is like I download everything from Japan, all the videos directly from Japan. Okay, download, and then come back to Malaysia. I watch the videos, the one that I already downloaded, and I just open up my internet, my limited data, just to upload the assignment, something like that. So this is how I think like Malaysia is currently moving for those who doesn't have internet connection. It's pathetic, but then you need to study. If you didn't study now, if you didn't learn now, then you are just like, you are going to be left behind. Means like you need to have an effort. And I think the main support system for this, for the students, are the parents themselves, and also their siblings lah, the parents themselves. Because you live with parents a lot, you are with them a lot, not with your teachers. Teachers can only become your second support, but the one that the people that really need to support the students, our current students, murid-murid currently, is the parents. Okay, so let's talk about our sentiment analysis results. So we have like the neutral, positive, and negative. Surprisingly, it's only, I think this one is only 30% or 40%, 30% of the negative sentiment that we able to get it from our results. But this sentiment analysis need further study, because some of the word is actually not on negative, not actually on positive. So we still need to do a lot of study on this kind of part lah. So some of the example of the sentiment analysis on the neutral part is, next week we'll start PDPR, or we don't know whether they are, using the word, next week we'll start PDPR, or next week we'll start PDPR. So that's how it become neutral. So we have another one which is positive, the success of PDPR during a pandemic. the word the success. This is the keyword for positive. And the next one is like, I don't know what kind of story, but my children are learning to be more focused, more understanding, more diligent than going to class because they don't bother with friends. So this one is like, it's a positive sentiment because they think like we have the words of like, learning to be more focused, more understanding. This is how they pick up lah. This one become positive. Okay, then the next one is the negative sentiment. We have more crazy PDPR. So, like when you read this already, this is a complaint by the Twitter. I don't know whether it's a teacher or a student, but it's a complaint. And then I'm not ready for PDPR. So this is like actually in the library of the sentiment analysis, they already have like, the model already defined which word is actually the one that is going to define positive and which word is going to define negative. So comparing both survey and Twitter results, what we can see is like we have like these two major issues on the online and Twitter survey, which is internet connection and student participation. Beside of the gadget storage and also hard to understand and concentrate. So if we see on this part on the what product they use, most of them they use Google products. They use Google products, and then some of them is quite daily is the Microsoft Team. But most of them in the Twitter, what they write is they just do a module and also video recording. Means like offline learning is still there in Malaysia. So this is our solution, which is Apple PTPR. After we see all of this, I think like we need to build something. We need to help all the teachers. And fret not, this app is free of charge. So just use it freely. And then if you have any problem with the apps, you can contact us. And also if you want us to improve this app, feel free to write to me, to write to my team as well, so that we know where to improve. We are currently improving these apps actually. Okay, so how Apple PTPR can help solve the problem above. So I just pick up the 6 top problems that we get from the Twitter and also the survey results, which is the internet connectivity and high data usage. So the solution is we need to have a hybrid learning or offline modules. So what you can do in Apple PTPR is actually, you can download the material or homework that is given by your teacher. You do it online. Means like all the students do it online. Then you submit it online and the teachers can grade it online or offline. Means like you can on off lah your data, your usage in the phone and also the desktop. So if you have like a very heavy video also, download the video first. We cannot help you on the internet connectivity because we are not the people that actually building all the 4G's line. But this is what we can help you on this part. And then the next part is online classroom management. So we need a one-stop mobile and web apps. So currently what we see is people are scattering. Teachers are very scattering. Some use WhatsApp. After use WhatsApp, okay, you go to Google Classroom. After that, you go to Google Meet. And then like the students already become, I don't know where to go or something like that. So that's why we built a one-stop mobile and web apps where you are going to have all of the external links there. You can link everything inside it. So this is one out of our solution. The next part is difficulty to grade homework submitted as image. So we built an in-app marking. So you can just, grade the homework that is submitted by the student in the form of image by using our apps. You don't need to download. You don't need to print it. You don't need to have another third-party apps. Just use our apps. So this is how we cater for the third problem. The fourth problem will be in student participation. As I tell you before, it's a very broad definition that I can't even define what is the meaning of student participation. But what we try to help is we create a 3-way interaction between teacher, student, and parent. So we have a discussion board for every materials and homeworks. Means like when the teacher posts about this material or about this homework, parents can also comment on that part. Means like, teacher, how to do this? I don't understand. Teacher, my child cannot do this. She don't even understand what you are trying to, what is your homework about. So actually the parents can help put the, comment in the discussion board as well as the student. Because our apps is not only catering for the, cater on the primary school students, we also cater on the middle school and high school and also the university level and the private trainer. So means like everyone can comment on that. The next part is the gadget shortage. This one also we cannot help so much. So we imagine like if you have one gadget in family and you need to share the devices. So what we can do is we have like one parent that can observe multiple children accounts. So you have a lot of children accounts to help mark attendance because parents are very busy. They also have their own work, their own career. So 10 a.m. you have a class, your children have a class. Then you need to mark the attendance for the children. What you need to do? It's very difficult to, submit the Google form. Some of the parents also don't realize the WhatsApp group. So many WhatsApp group. And then what we did is like you have this session, you just mark attendance, one click, done. And then the teacher also can check from there. And then like the parents can review the homework and materials at the same time for all children. Means you are going to have one dashboard that have all children there. So we have the sixth problem, which is the difficulty to check attendance. You don't have to, build Google form each time. You just check attendance in one platform. So you can mark attendance in one tick and view the attendance rate. So it's very simple. And then if you want to share the attendance to everyone, you just print screen lah. And then like if you want to make sure, if like even the student also know lah when like your friend coming in or your friend doesn't come in, so you can help contact the student, because actually when you click the people name, you can already get their phone number lah if they didn't hide their phone number. Okay. So let me demo to you guys a little bit what is our Ever PDPR. So this is actually if you want to create a session. So you open up a session and then you can put it in the name. Actually, this one we already upgrade that we have a session name, description, and also meeting link. So you create the name here. Like this one is a maths year 4. And then you write a description. What is it about? And then you can put the Google Meet link there lah actually. And also there is a occurrence that you can put, means like usually a class will be repeating every week. So you can put like 1 week occurrence or 1 day occurrence on that part as well. And then, yeah, this is the time to set. And after that, there is a choice on the public, internal, and private. So if you do it for your own class or for own school, just use internal. But if you want to open to all, like you want to build, like this kind of conferences, just do public so everyone can attend your session. So this is how you create a session. So the next part is what I want to show you is the attendance part. This is very nice one where you just use one tick only. Okay. So I have a session today, which is mathematics tahun 4, right? So I want to, to mark my attendance. Just click on the mark your attendance, that part. And then done already. So this is on. So the next one, if the student or the teachers want to check your attendance, so you just open up. You just open up the attendance part, and then like you go to the class name, and then you will get the attendance. Okay. So the next part will be what I want to show you is homework. Like you give homework and you grade the homework. Okay. So this is when we want to give out the homework. Okay. So you upload this homework actually. Means what the teachers already give the homework, so the student upload the homeworks and submit. So you can add attachment, you can write a description, something like that lah. It depends on what is your homework requirement. Then you just click submit. Okay. So the next part will be on if you want to grade the homework. If you want to grade the homework, it's very simple. This one is the image homework, because I see a lot of like, a lot of students, they don't use Google Docs, they don't use Google Slide, they don't use PPT to submit the homework. Most of them just snap a shot and then submit. So this is how like actually we have the in-apps platform. So you can just use this in-app actually to tick and write the homework. Very nice, right? Okay. So and then like you need to save the changes, click save. And after that, you can give a score 0 to 100. And then you can also add a review documents. You can also put a remark. So for me, like I'm not really like to write review lah. I just put the score usually. If I have like 50 students, I don't even have time to write the review lah. But you can write the remark actually, and then you can check. There is a dashboard that you can check submitted, not submitted, something like that. Okay, so this is about homework. So the next part will be on the external link. So the external link, you can see like we have another external link part. We have all the pelaporan and also the Ever PDPR survey, the Zoom, the Google Meet, the Redima there. So if you just want to have all the education external links, if you want us to add more, just let us know, then we can add on the external link part, because our aim is to become a one-stop platform for you guys for the education part. Okay, so the next one. The next one is the three ways interaction that I told you before. Okay. So this is actually when you how the parents see your your own the student session, your children session is actually depends on the student. They have like you can see what they already going to the class or not, because there's a level of their children here. And then this one is the review board actually, so you can review anything here. Okay. Then the next part will be okay. So this is some of the demo. But if you want to explore more about Ever PTPR, feel free to visit our websites evertechnologies.com/everptpr. Try it in www.everptpr.com and find it in App Store and Play Store as well. So in conclusion, students and teachers are slowly adapted to the new norm. We need to adapt. It's not you are going to slowly adapt. We need to adapt. This is, like we don't have any choice. If you didn't adapt, either you are going to be infected and die. It's not going to be die lah. If you are going to be infected, even if you are in category 1 or 2, I would say like it's a very terrible experience. I never been infected, but I have few of my friends that been infected in Cat 1 and Cat 2. And then I even have someone that, my uncle passed away because of COVID-19. And then like my close friend got, I think, Cat 4, Cat 5. So it's a very dangerous situation currently. So we need to adapt to this new norm. And then teachers are not satisfied with current online teaching platform and application. So well-designed application can effectively assist the teaching process. So that's why EverPTPR was born. So further study is required on this topic. So we are currently collaborating with UTeM Justin on this education technology topic. So we want to further help the teachers out there, to the teachers, parents, and students out there, so that we can bring the best to everyone here. And further enhancement for our apps is really necessary. So that's all from me. Thank you very much. I pass back to the MC, and I saw a lot of comments already in the Facebook. So let have the MC to take the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Fariza, for your sharing. Now let's move to our Q&A. We have a few questions here, and one person named Wakil Kambing Biri-Biri Malaysia asks, in terms of time and work, are your overall expectation the same as or different from a traditional school?
Okay, very nice. I think like your name also very nice, Wakil Kambing Biri-Biri Malaysia. So in term of time and work, I would say, of course, when you do online learning, you are going to have a lot of more effort compared to a traditional school. But in fact, in the traditional school also, you still need to prepare materials to your student. You still need to do some sort of admin works, and also you need to run away through the class, and then like, okay, now you are in the bilik guru, then you need to go to the class, and suddenly your students have a co-curriculum you need to attend as well. So for me, same or different is depend on the teacher, because actually one material that you build currently, you can reuse to another classes. Actually, in our apps, we also have this function. Actually, you can share your previously created materials to another class. And everyone also can help share if you make it publicly. So in terms of time and work, I cannot give you the answer because it all depends on yourself. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fariza. Next question we received from Chare Essin. He asks, what method did your team use to get the Twitter data? Is it by web scraping or via the Twitter API? I'm playing with the API, but seems like the standard version has limitation. So I'm curious, what do people usually use for this?
Okay, we didn't use the Twitter API at all because yes, Twitter API has limitation. It's only 7 days a week, one thing. And then like when you try to apply for the Twitter developer account, if you write incorrectly, your Twitter account might be suspended. That's happened to me before this, right? So what we did is we used the Twin, TWINT. Let me show you the slides that how we do the analysis. Wait, Okay, this one, TWI in P. So this is actually the platform that we use for the tweet analysis. So this one that's why we are able to extract 15,900 data actually. Okay.
And Charit Esin also said, one more thing, if you don't mind, could you share the tech stack for the Ever PDPR app?
The tech stack for the Ever PDPR apps, we use Flutter for our front end mostly. And then the back, I think it will be in Java. I cannot answer so much on the tech stack because I'm not the one that developed the apps. I'm a data scientist. I'm not the apps developer. So I think like the main tech will be Flutter.
Okay, next question from Ani Suraya. She asks, what are the challenge while building the Ever PDPR apps?
Oh, the challenges never ending until now. Because first of all, like when we build the apps actually, because we are a bunch of developers and we are not the school teachers, and at that time actually we didn't really, going deeper on what the teachers really want. We just think on the perception of teachers, students, and also parents. So actually, it's a very challenging because we don't really understand what the user wants. So eventually, when we try to develop the apps, that's how we come out like, okay, let's make a survey and scrap a Twitter so that we know actually what the teachers, students, and parents want. So that is the main challenging part lah on building the Ever PDPR because you are not the main user of the apps. So even you already learn everything, once you update the apps, you tend to forget about it also because you are not the user, right? So, but now we are also using the apps as our main learning management system for school Ever AI. Okay.
Oh, Dr. Faraza, Wendy Tan asked, she said, is the challenge including encourage people to adopt the technology?
Of course, this is a very good point. As I told you before, education part, all teachers in Malaysia, not all of them are like us. We are not from, I think I am currently on Gen Y. I think Gen Z is very good in adapting to the technology, but not the boomers part, like the boomers, they cannot even adapt this technology. Some of the teachers said, oh, I cannot have this kind, or online tutorials. I need to have a face-to-face tutorial so that I can understand on the app better. I was thinking like at the time, oh no, we are in the pandemic. How come we want to do face-to-face lah, something like that. But then it's a big challenge. But I see a lot of teachers that even their boomers means they are in the 40 and above age years old, they still learn to do this. That's why they are very awesome. It's very difficult, but we need to go through it together.
Okay, move to the next question from Muhammad Bruce Lee. He asks, when we move to the normal school setting very soon, how do you suggest this app be used to benefit the students?
Okay, as I told you before, our apps is mainly we are thinking about the hybrid learning solution. We are not really going to use it for the whole online learning solution because back when I was in Japan, actually, we have the learning management system that is very good, and we do it for the hybrid learning. Means like the student can do online classes and can also be used for the offline classes. So when I say it's about offline classes, mean you just use the apps actually to submit the homework submit the answering the quiz. But then the lecture will be face to face. Same with but if you suddenly have like, you don't have enough classroom, so you are going to have the online classes. So the apps itself also are able to cater the online class part. So that's why we are going to really move it to the hybrid learning solution. It's not going to be full online solution because in the future also, I think even the Sekolah Asrama Penuh, MRSM, they are going to permit the students to bring the phone to the school in the future, but not now. I don't know when, but it's currently, it's not really at my time having a phone is like a luxury and also not really a necessity because you just use it to SMS and also call friend. But nowadays you use it to surf the internet as well. Okay.
Okay, next question we have from Umi Hassana Zaidun. She asks, what is your opinion for those parents who are not digital literacy in which the quite difficult for them to adapt with teach with that even PDPR. How you as tech developer company to overcome this matter?
Okay, as I tell you before, it's very difficult to everyone. It's very difficult to everyone. That's why when we try to make our product much more understand, our user experience, we try to make it as simple as possible. We try to make it as colorful as possible as well. Not really colorful lah, means like every color has their own meaning. And then another part is like when we open up a tutorial, we try to make it a very easy to understand tutorial. And of course, during the tutorial, I'm not going to speak all English like today lah. It's going to be Malay language because our teachers prefer Malay compared to English. Our parents also prefer Malay compared to English. We need to cater, and of course, our app have 3 languages, which is Malay, English, and also Mandarin.
Okay, next question we have from Azri Azmi. He asks, what are the challenges of opening a startup company in Malaysia?
Oh, this question is not related to edutech. Okay, but yeah, I would say it's very challenging. Because like we just opened this company last year on November, but we incorporated this year on February. So the idea come on March, but the idea come on October, November last year lah. Exactly almost 1 year. We are together on this. The most challenging part is, of course, on the capital and also the client part lah. Because we have the sentiment actually, most of the companies, they didn't believe on the local products. Even when we show this product to the teachers, they will ask, is this product is being used by the international people, means like outside of Malaysia? Is this product is backed by Google, Microsoft, or some sort of big company, something like that? Because we have the sentiment like, local product is always bad. So we need to change that. We need to prove to them that actually local people can build better.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Faraza. Next question we have from Zarin Zul. She asks, how do you manage your time being a data scientist, leading women in AI, and managing your startup company?
Oh, Zarin, this one you need to PM lah. Why you ask here? It's a very difficult question to answer actually. So my principle is like this. For my data scientist job, I will just do it during my full-time job hours, which is 9 to 6, 8:30 to 6. And after that, I will turn off the PC. I will not touch the PC at all. Means like I'm not going to be bothered by the full-time job unless it's necessary for me to be there. But until now, actually, I don't have the necessity to open up during the weekend or during the after outside of the office hour, because you need to manage your time well so that like you can use the 9 hours wisely to finish up your job, your task. So, and then as the women in AI, I think like when I start the women in AI and our startup, is actually the women in AI is a passion of me lah. Means like I see how females are being treated in outside country, how the diversity and inclusion is like this kind of unconscious bias in the country that I lived before, which is Japan. And also when I went to the conferences where, it's very difficult to get female researchers, we also get a very hard time actually to find all of these awesome female speakers, because it's very, very few to get female in this field. It's a reality, okay? It's a reality. When you try to find out who are you, and you try to, Google who is the female in the field, you usually find none, except for those in the academics lah. Even in academic also, if in Japan, most of them are conquered by the male itself, but not in Malaysia. So the woman in AI is my passion, and the startup company is a challenge that I want to do. So usually my weekend will be full of my startup company lah. I dedicated one day actually, Sunday, to do our weekly meeting and also to do all the tasks that I need to do for my startup company. Women in AI also usually fall into the night lah. After I come back to work, then I will check all the WhatsApp messages lah. But after all, my advice is like, if you want to become like, you want to have the key position, what you need to do also find your me time lah, the time that you actually enjoy doing anything by yourself. Okay.
Okay, next question we have from Wendy Tan. She asks, do you think online learning can replace face-to-face learning, or the best would be both?
The best would be both. I think like online learning can never replace face-to-face learning. because they are going to replace if you have all the good internet connections. Now Malaysia is not there yet. Malaysia is not there yet. So you cannot do the full online learning. But the best is actually to do both. Even though like it's a very urban area, but sometimes you know about this kind of like mental health problems that we have among the teachers, students, WFH workers. I think like Prof. Rose discuss on this part on the work from home. It's actually not giving, it's half lah. It's not really giving a very good opportunity to the females actually. But instead, when you do work from home, you need to take care of so many things. Your children is crying, your baby is crying, your baby need your attention. At the same time, you need to attend anything. So this kind of mental health problem that we have currently is the best to have both, not to do either one. Okay.
Okay, and next question from Nurul Shahira Hashim. How do you introduce or market the apps to the schools and teachers?
Oh, by this kind of live talks, one thing, we join a lot of Telegram group with the teachers. We have teachers that supporting us as well, and also we try to approach every teachers in the country, but it's very difficult actually. So what we did is like we open up like just follow our Facebook page. We even open up a group called Ever PDPR Community so that the teachers can discuss there. So this is how we want to go lah, means like online and offline.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Faraza. I think that's the end for the Q&A. Do you have any last word to say?
Okay, my last word to say is, okay, first of all, enjoy the rest of the 4-day summit that we prepared for you. And then the next thing is like, don't afraid to become digitalized. I think we need to go digital. If we didn't go digital, we'll become, lag behind. We are not currently, our neighboring country, Singapore, already lead us a lot to the front. The most matured AI country currently is US, followed by China. And I think the third one is Singapore or Israel, I think. Then, okay, this is about Singapore. And now we are not even in the second place besides Singapore in Asia. We are behind Indonesia as well. So it's a very pity to see that actually we are way behind Indonesia. So that's why when I received the Women in ICT Awards, most of the recipients come from Singapore, some from Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and I'm the only Malaysian. So where is Malaysia? So for me, this is my last word. Go digitalize, learn new tech stack, and also be yourself and enjoy whatever process you are in. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fariza, for your sharing, and thank you everyone for today. That's it. Let's end our broadcast here, and we will continue tomorrow.